Good evening and welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ plus daily evening television news. We're broadcasting live and then we're available on demand, and we're available on all smart televisions, including Roku, Apple Television, Android TV, Amazon Fire TV, YouTube, and Facebook. It's time to queer up the news. It's Monday, August 7th, 2023. We're live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we're going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight with Al Ferguson.
I'm your anchor at Queer News Tonight, Al Ferguson, and this evening we bring you the news of and a perspective representing the LGBTQ plus community from South Florida, America, and across our planet.
This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ plus evening news show. Whatever happens unique in LGBTQ plus news, you will see it and hear it.
Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model of PBS and NPR, but designed for the LGBTQ plus community. Our mission is to support the 10 pillars of our LGBTQ plus community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of our Black community, Latino, lesbians and queer women, trans, students and youth, seniors, HIV/AIDS healthcare, business, social justice, and faith. Help us support our community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBT plus media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network.
Our magazine is celebrating 38 years of the LGBTQ plus experience, and our television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ plus and broader community.
Let's welcome anchor FayWhat. She is a radio and television personality and is the host of the FayWhat Show, the first LGBTQ plus morning program, Mondays at 9 a.m. and then on demand on all streaming and social media platforms. She's also a host and MC for many South Florida events. Welcome, Faye.
Hello, boys. Happy to be here. In the Gay Agenda South Florida, FlockFest Splash Red Pool Party presented by Midland on September 3rd. FlockFest brings the Splash Pool Party Labor Day weekend on September 3rd. The event will take place at the Easton Fort Lauderdale on the rooftop from 12 to 5 p.m. Presented by Midland, the event will feature DJ Alex Ferber and will be hosted by the one and only Prince Trilla. This pool party is organized to benefit World AIDS Museum. The Easton is Fort Lauderdale's favorite rooftop lounge and pool. The World AIDS Museum is the first museum dedicated to the HIV/AIDS epidemic. Early bird general admission tickets for the party start at just $15. Food is available to purchase. Early bird VIP tickets are starting at $70. VIP area is presented by Hunter's Nightclub. There would be no better event than this to help the community while engaging in unlimited poolside fun. Further information and tickets are now available at flockfestevents.org.
Let's welcome anchor Neil Plakcy. He is the author of over 40 books featuring queer stories from murder mysteries to love stories. His most recent book, The Virgin Homicides, was just recently released. Welcome, Neil.
Thank you very much. In the Gay Agenda South Florida, Arts Biz Miami Creative Happy Hour, celebrating the 2023 Miami Arts Marketing Project Series, August 14th. Arts and Business Council of Miami brings Creative Happy Hour for networking with an artsy twist. The happy hour will be on August 14th from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Intercontinental Hotel, Miami. The Arts and Business Council is Miami's only organization that leverages the arts for economic vitality. It inspires employees, stimulates innovation, and fosters creativity. The happy hour will feature complimentary tasty treats and wine for the first 20 arrivals. The art event will be hosted by Collaborative and feature fine art illustrator and painter Claudia Yusmila Garcia, showcasing her amazing art that ignites inspiration and introspection. It is a perfect opportunity for art lovers of Fort Lauderdale to meet fellow art lovers and enthusiasts. The event is free of cost. You can visit collaborative.org for further details.
Let's welcome Lorenzo Davis. He is an activist who works in community transformation and upliftment apart from being an author, filmmaker, and neo-soul artist. Welcome, Lorenzo.
Hey, here's an agenda in the gay agenda in South Florida. The Art Woman Queer Love Artist Talk August 14. Gathering in Island City Culture Center on Monday, August 14 at 6:30 p.m. for the Artist Talk and closing reception presented by the nonprofit Black LGBT+ Liberation Inc., Blink. The aim is to give visibility to how queer women love, their intimacy, romance, sensual, and sexual relationships. Island City Culture Center brings art and culture experience to the community-hosted art-focused events that enrich, educate, impact, and inspire. While Blink is the South Florida-based nonprofit focused on helping BIPOC, LGBT+ people leading happy and healthier lives, the event will feature talented artists like Royal Brown photographer, Kalu Naima Newton, Sephora Mitchell, and Jane Cringebird, Trish Delish Art, Nikki Harris, and G. Wright. This program is organized with a grant from Our Fund Foundation. The event is free and will start at 6:30 p.m. More information is available on theartwoman.com.
Let's welcome anchor Kal Gajraj. Kal is a first-generation Muslim American, an award-winning communications executive and diversity officer, a professor, and an advisory board member for the University of South Florida's College of Business. Welcome, Kal.
Thanks, Al. In the Gay Agenda, South Florida, Navigating Challenges, a back-to-school strategies and resource panel, August 15th. SunServe has organized Navigating Challenges, a back-to-school strategies and resource in-person panel discussion about what teachers and students can expect now with the new Don't Say Gay law in effect. The event will take place on August 16th at 6 p.m. at the Center for Spiritual Living in Fort Lauderdale. SunServe will have experts presenting the laws and how teachers and students can protect their rights. SunServe offers life assistance, mental health care, education, and training for the LGBTQ+ community. Safe Schools South Florida and the ACLU have sponsored the event and will be free and open to the public. For ticket purchase and further information, visit sunserve.org.
We are the reporters for Queer News Tonight, and this evening we bring you the queer headlines. The LGBTQ+ community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast, and here are the bullet points for the queer news for today, Monday, August 7th. Let's begin by queering up travel. The Florida Outcoast Convention made history for LGBTQ+ travel. The inaugural Florida Outcoast Convention, FLOC, and the first and only conference focused on the Florida LGBTQ+ tourism industry, has just completed, running August 1st through August 3rd. Outcoast hosted the three-day event in Tampa at the Hilton downtown. The convention brought together DMOs, hotels, business owners, LGBTQ+ organizations, travel planners, influencers, media, and others who want to support and learn about inclusive tourism. The event raised money to support the LGBTQ+ Pride Centers in Naples and Fort Myers. The convention featured keynote speakers like Brianna Summers, Farron Hip, Jamie and Katie Filer, Greg DeShields, Trevor Pettiford, and Kevin Fink. It also hosted performances by Sarah Potenza, Jay Maya, and Jeff Klein. There is no denying that it is a critical time in Florida for the LGBTQ+ community members and especially travelers, given that travel advisories are on the minds of tourism leaders throughout the country and especially in Florida. There was no better time for this event. This year, organizations like the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, NAACP, the League of United Latin American Citizens, the Human Rights Campaign, the HRC, and Equality Florida issued warnings to LGBTQ+ travelers visiting Florida, considering the potential impacts of the recently passed LGBTQ+ bills in the state. Never before has there been a space for Florida's tourism and LGBTQ+ leaders to come together to learn, network, and collaborate. This is a really important event for the LGBTQ community. I've just recently interviewed Richard Gray, who was an L100 recipient for Visit Lauderdale, and Stacy Ritter, the CEO of Visit Lauderdale. She was a keynote speaker at this conference in Tampa. And both make it very, very clear of how important tourism is to LGBT. In Broward County, as an illustration, more than 1.1 million LGBT visitors to our county. And it accounts for nearly $1 billion of overall tourism. And what that really means when we go, well, how does it affect us? It affects jobs. It creates jobs. Tourism is a job creating industry. And as a result, for LGBT, it's really a critical factor. And for us also, travel is really a critical point. And so really the entire eyes of the country and internationally are looking to Florida in the politics that we're watching. And so this conference was very, very important. I congratulate Outcoast for what they did.
Well, and we can't talk about this flock without talking about the incredible woman behind it all, the one with the mission and the vision. Miss Rachel Cavello, you are an incredible human being. Thank you. You know, you made your vision happen. I remember a year ago when she said, I want to get people to come to Tampa and learn all the ins and outs about LGBTQ plus travel, but I'm a girl. How am I going to do this? And you did it, girl. You did it, and you were amazing. People are still talking about it. Richard Gray was there. Stacy Ritter got an award. Congratulations, Miss Ritter, for getting that award. You're a hot lady. I just want to tell you that. You know, Kevin Clevenger, part of FlockFest, was also part of a panel, and they talked about, you know, the drag ban and how that affects different organizations here in South Florida, right? You know, and so important right now. So important with everything happening. How influencers can help these organizations, right? By doing videos telling people that Florida is safe and we're okay. And yes, you know, look behind you. But that's anywhere that you travel as LGBTQ plus. That's not just for Florida, you know? So I think that they did a wonderful thing. And I believe that they're going to try to move the Flock Convention down here further to South Florida. And, you know, got to be a part of it next year, because I think that it was definitely smart move. It was well attended. And I'm just very proud of everyone who went over there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I can represent the people who are thinking of going to events, because as a writer, I'm involved with a lot of national writers groups. We have writers conferences and fan conventions around the country. And I'm seeing a lot of chatter on my lists about people saying, I'm not comfortable going to this place. I'm a trans person and I'm worried about how I would be received. So I see this kind of on a ground level, that people really are worried about Florida and many of the other places in the country that are instituting these kind of policies.
And it's unfortunate because the guy behind all of this is the governor of the great state of Florida. And
who?
The governor.
Oh, the governor.
Yeah.
That guy.
Don't say DeSantis.
Yeah, right.
That's
And
at the end of the day, you know, when tourism is down and the economy is tanking and there's revenue not coming in, the buck stops there.
Yeah.
Right. Well, Neil, let's look at a different topic tonight.
Okay. So next, let's queer up the USA view. The headline here is a high school student charged with the murder of O'Shea Sibley.
Some of the confrontation between two groups Saturday night around 11 o'clock here at this gas station after one of the groups was dancing in the parking lot while pumping gas. The other group, including the 17-year-old boy in the red shorts over by the front of the store, he confronts them. The victim's face is blurred in this video. Police say the boy in the red shorts, well known to this gas station, we're told, stabbed the victim and killed him. Neighbors and eyewitnesses are horrified.
When he chased him by the sidewalk, that's where he pulled out a knife and just stabbed him. He was just coming here using the bathroom, too much attitude with the workers.
Definitely he has to be, he needs help. It's not normal. This is my neighborhood and I have never witnessed anything like this or somewhere that's close to home. So this really hits home. It's really sad.
Police have arrested a 17-year-old high school student on a hate-motivated murder charge in the fatal stabbing of a professional dancer, O'Shea Sibley, during an altercation between two groups of friends at a New York City gas station last weekend. Police took the teenager into custody Friday. Mayor Eric Adams, a former police captain, held a news conference outside the Brooklyn gas station where Sibley was killed on July 29th. He said, quote, "Parents lost a child to something that was clearly a hate crime," end quote. The stabbing occurred after the two groups got into a confrontation at one of the gas pumps where Sibley was dancing with his friends to a Beyoncé song. Authorities said Sibley's group was being taunted by the other group before the confrontation ended in violence. Beyoncé also paid tribute to Sibley on her website. According to Assistant Police Chief Joe Kenny, Sibley was stabbed once in the left rib cage. The initial encounter lasted about 4 minutes when Sibley and 4 other men stopped to refuel while traveling home to New York City from New Jersey. Authorities said the suspect arranged for his surrender through his attorney. I just want to say this really upset me because I can remember being a young person dancing around like that in public with my friends.
Yeah, well, say his name, okay? Say his name, O'Shea Sibley. This is a horrible crime, okay? This is, right-wing rhetoric being gone awry, okay? People are listening to all the awful things that these people say, that Republicans say, that the far right say. People are listening. And this 17-year-old kid, if he maybe would have been taught about ballroom culture, maybe O'Shea would still be alive today.
And not only that, just mind your own business. Like, he wasn't doing anything to anyone. He was there with his friends dancing at a gas station and was approached by the 17-year-old who ended his life. For what? And now he's probably going to spend the rest of his life in jail.
The one thing that I'm happy to see, I believe we reported this story the day after the stabbing. And one of the things that we talked about at the table was, what is Beyonce going to do? And I'm really happy that she came out so forcefully, so quickly, so vocally, because like Faye's point of the consequences of GOP hate words and evangelical hate words, which is what Beyonce is talking about, it's counterbalanced by voices like Beyonce to immediately come out and say that this is a painful moment, and she appreciated the celebration of life that he had in just dancing to her music. And I think it was a wonderful tribute for her to take it a step farther to talk about how important his life and representation was.
Next up, let's queer up sports. Martina Navratilova speaks out against the U.S. Tennis Association's transgender inclusion. Martina Navratilova has criticized the U.S. Tennis Association for its stance on transgender athletes competing in women's tennis tournaments. It comes as transgender tennis star Alicia Rowley reportedly became the latest player to win a women's national tennis championship and the coveted Golden Ball. The Independent Council on Women's Sports Icons posted the news on Twitter, stating that Rowley recently won the women's 55-plus grass court national championship and national indoor singles and doubles championship. The USTA states in its transgender inclusion policy that trans athletes should be included and not blocked from playing the sport. The document states, quote, "It is necessary to ensure, insofar as possible, the transgender athletes are not excluded from the opportunity to participate in sporting competitions," end quote. But following the news that Rowley had won the national tennis championship, Icon's co-founder, Kim Shasby-Jones, tagged Navratilova and Chrissy Everett in a tweet and claimed the USTA's transgender policy should be changed. In response, 16-time Grand Slam champion Navratilova wrote, quote, "Come on, USTA. Women's tennis is not for failed male athletes, whatever age. This is not right and it is not fair," end quote. This is not the first time that Navratilova has published her views on transgender athletes competing in female sporting categories. Martina, girl, you got a platform, all right? So use it. Okay, what are you doing right now with your time? You're only painting. I think you're painting now, right? So you got time. We need your voice. We need your followers. You need to continue to stand up and speak up for these women that are competing in tennis, because again, they're women, period, done, end of story.
But Faye, don't you think she is using her voice and platform exactly the way she wants to hate?
She's
doing that.
I think there's a biological issue here. I think it's really important for young people to be able to participate in athletic events. But you take somebody like Alicia Rowley, who has male hormones, who went through puberty as a male, who has, a male physique despite whatever cosmetic or biological changes have been made. Is it fair for somebody who has all that testosterone background to compete in women's athletics?
Well, Neil, there needs to be more data done about that, honey. But I mean, you should probably read an article or two, okay? Because when people transition, they're taking these hormone blockers. They're doing all this kind of stuff that their memory mass is not there any longer, okay? So what they felt like as a man is not going to be what they feel like and the strength that they're going to have the first couple of years of transitioning.
Listen, and as a biological male, I'm not very athletically inclined. So some of these women that are out there will beat me at any sport there is. So I don't think it comes down to being biologically male or female, like what Faye says. Trans women are women, period. And I think they should be able to compete in any sports or any activities that they wish to be in.
Okay, but there should be like a protocol. How long have you been transitioning? What hormone, what are you on? What are you taking? You understand? And then maybe you're allowed. Of course, like anything else, there's got to be rules and regulations to things.
I to Kal's point, ignorance is ignorance, because even if there's issues of the effectiveness of a trans woman in competing in sports, there's a difference in the science catching up with this, or what the national sports bodies are saying about it, or what national medical associations are saying about it. There's almost overwhelming and totality of support of the trans community in this field. But it needs more time to digest through our society and to see the fairness of what is happening. I think almost equally as great as the issue is the hate on hate crime that goes on here. I am constantly surprised at the hate of the black community, on the black LGBTQ community, launched principally and first and foremost from the black community. Black evangelicals, the black church on black LGBT community. We've reported so many stories about that. Equally, I think it's interesting that lesbian and queer women, which should try to be the most open-minded of dialoguing our understanding, there is a very significant number that hate on trans and non-binary women, the whole TERF movement. And in both instances, black on black hate and women on women or non-binary hate, I think is interesting. And the proof of that is Navratilova's quote, failed male athletes. I very much imagine that if we had Twitter in 1959, the comments that would be made about, from white supremacists in the South about black members in our community would sound like failed male athletes. You're hating. And you're not embracing. You didn't say, we got to learn a lot more about this. We got to talk more about this. Let's all sit down and come to no. Hate is what's coming out of my mouth. And that's why, Navratilova, I don't care who you were in the world. I turn you off instantly because you're just hating, and that's all you're doing. It's just like 1959 against our black community. Lorenzo, speaking of trans rights, let's talk about trans rights.
Yeah. Next, let's clear up with trans rights. Anti-LGBT laws could have overseen widespread impact. New laws target LGBT plus people are proliferating in GOP lead states, but often absent from the policy decision is a clear understanding of how many people will be directly affected. There has been relatively little data collected on the number of LGBT plus residents in the U.S. That means lawmakers are often writing laws without the same kind of baseline information they might have for the other demographic groups. Legislature's decisions to ban transgender women and girls from playing school sports often fails to consider the impact on intersex students. Conversations about gender-affirming care bans were times clouded by a discredited in 2018 study that claimed kids might experience gender dysphoria because of the peer influence. This has led to enormous suggestions that the number of the trans people was inflated. Not all intersex people are identified as at birth. There are more than 13 million people. There are more than 13 million who are lesbians, gay, bisexual, or transgender in the U.S. aged 13 and older. The U.S. Census did not add questions about sexual orientation and gender identity until 2021. Efforts on the quantity of the number of the LGBT plus people, including the intersex people, in the U.S. were scarce until the last few decades, and stigma prevented from some of the disclosing and their identities. This has some overlapping between the groups. Intersex people are included in the plus sign in the LGBT plus acronym, and some intersex people also identify as gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, or queer. That put me in a place where it still exists in discrimination. Something where I was actually battling in school as well, in elementary school, middle school, and high school. And I'm thinking that we got past this already. Like, I don't know, it's really been conflicting, and it's getting me more out to be more of a leader in the community and really help our people in fighting what we're going through right now. So I hate the fact that we're experiencing this, and we need more leaders to speak up, and we need more people to talk about this issue.
Did you, as a black queer man, did you face a lot of discrimination when you were in school?
Oh yes, I mostly did. Pretty much, me being gay, the first thing they offered me is the cheerleader, to be a cheerleader. They wouldn't allow me to. I auditioned. I tried out for the soccer team. I tried out for the basketball team. And I was wondering why I didn't get the actual on the team. I mean, I auditioned. I tried out so many times for the basketball and the football flag team and the soccer team.
But can you play those sports?
Yes, I can.
Okay, because I go out for that shit, they're gonna be like, "No, girl, go on your way," you know.
Pom-poms.
But I did found a passion. I did audition for the dance squad, so I did get the dance.
Yeah.
But for any sports that I did, I never could get in, and especially the volleyball. I know I was nailing them, and they still wouldn't let me get in. So I can see where this issue still is existing, and sports should be able to have, like, anybody can be able to play the sports.
Well, it's kind of like what we were talking about in the other story, right? We need the data. We need the science. We need to know how many of us are actually out there, right? And, you know, that's how we get grants. That's how we get better health care. That's how organizations that serve our community are able to serve our community, right? By having this data. And this data is not concise. We've never been counted, each of us, ever, okay? And I've read certain articles recently that people are going back in the closet. And when they have to fill out surveys, they don't fill it out as LGBTQ+. Because they're fearful because of everything going on. And can we blame them?
Yeah. I think part of this, if you want to look for some hopeful side, it is that the more people know someone in their family, in their community, in their religious community who is LGBTQ+, the more other people feel comfortable coming out and being open and being willing to answer those questions on statistics.
And I can't imagine what it's like to be a kid in elementary school or middle school and knowing that you're gay or lesbian or trans and not being comfortable enough to come out. I remember when I was in elementary school, I never knew what gay was, but I knew from an early age that I was different. And that's the way that I had defined it. And, you know, I did everything that all normal kids do in school and played sports and joined clubs and run for student government. And that never stopped me. But it makes me think now, thinking back to what's going on now, is if that's going to be an issue, it's like, oh, you know, if you're trans or gay or lesbian, you can't run for student government. You can't play sports. You can't do things that normal kids do.
You know, the one thing, when you make that observation, I thought to myself, the one thing that makes your experience even sadder, or your experience even sadder, is in this last academic school year, getting ready to start again, this will be the second full school year of the implementation of the DeSantis plan for Don't Say Gay. So this bullying, the Trevor Project, the Matthew Shepard syndrome that goes on in schools in different ways, the kind of thing that you face, I imagine that the only thing that makes it worse is to not have any safe spaces to even talk about what you're experiencing. Because that's essentially, for all intents and purposes, what we've created in our schools. Don't talk about it, which means that the situation like you described, gets even worse because I can't talk about what I'm experiencing with anyone, and there's no safe spaces to do it in schools or classrooms or with teachers or with even other students. And as a result, that leads to dangerous things. We're on a dangerous path, and that's the consequence of Don't Say Gay.
Next, let's queer up the world view. EuroPride and Christina Aguilera prepare to take over Malta. The small island nation of Malta in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea is hosting what is bound to be the greatest show in Europe this September 7th through 17th. Over those 10 days, Malta will host EuroPride Valletta 2023 in its capital city, with superstar Christina Aguilera headlining the highly anticipated closing concert on Saturday, September 16th. EuroPride is one of the world's largest LGBTQ plus celebrations, taking place in different European Union nations each year since 1992. It heads to Valletta, Malta for the very first time this summer with the slogan Equality from the Heart. The incredible variety of events and entertainment includes human rights conferences, free and ticketed concerts, theme parties, and pride marches in both Valletta and Victoria. In addition to its rich history, Malta has long stood out for its progressive culture and policies on LGBTQ plus equality. The country instituted national anti-discrimination policies in its constitution in 2014 and legalized same-sex marriage in 2017. EuroPride Valletta 2023 doubles as Malta Pride Week, which traditionally happens each September. For this year's EuroPride celebration, the annual Pride March will travel through Valletta on September 16th and culminate in the official EuroPride Valletta 2023 concert featuring Aguilera. How exciting is this? This makes me want to visit. Can we put a trip together?
I would love to see America's most prominent Maltese American, Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg, who speaks fluent Maltese, be the head of our delegation to this event.
Right, he should be a grand marshal or something for that, right?
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, EuroPride is not going to go to a place like Hungary anytime soon, right? Let's say that to be sure. And I think
there's not going to be EuroPride 24
unfortunately.
in Moscow.
Right? But a place like Malta is just so perfect for this and so welcoming. And what an incredible backdrop. Wow, it's so beautiful. And isn't Christina Aguilera, even though she hasn't had a hit in a while, she still is like the person behind so many LGBTQ plus anthems that we all kind of grew up with. I mean, you are beautiful, I mean, I love this. I love this story.
Yeah. One other thing that in EuroPride, I wish America was doing something like this because, frankly, we don't have the same kind of talent commitment at our Pride events as this.
Yeah.
This is a giant entertainment ticket that Malta has made commitment for and EuroPride has made commitment for. It's interesting to me, there is polling that every year analyzes LGBT rights in the world, and they rank every country in the world. As you can imagine, Russia, Saudi Arabia, Iran is at the bottom of the list, Ghana, etc. The United States, everyone thinks, go USA. Not so much. I think our 22 ranking was like 22nd or 17th, somewhere in there.
I'm surprised we're so high these days.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting in doing this story and EuroPride being in September and the celebration with Christina Aguilera, the #1 ranked embracement of LGBT of any country in the world, Malta. They're considered the best place in the world for LGBT. And what's so encouraging about that from my standpoint is marriage only passed there 2 years after we got it in the United States. They only came to a commitment of universal civil rights in 2014. But after they did that in 14 and then the embracement of 17, they basically, as an entire society, the island, not far from where we will be, not far from Cyprus in the Eastern Mediterranean, after that, they said, wait, we're all in now, and came all in. And in the last 6 years, have revolutionized how they deal with the LGBTQ community to move to the best place in the world.
I got chill bumps.
Isn't that awesome? Just awesome. Congratulations, Malta and EuroPride. And my goodness, we're jealous as all hell that you got Christina Aguilera.
Next, we are proud of our special partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church right here in Fort Lauderdale. Supporting that partnership, we're broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine Cathedral at the Happening Out television studios. We broadcast Sunshine Cathedral Sunday International Service at 10:30 a.m.
Well, we're going to finish tonight's Queer News headlines with a segment we call LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News.
In LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News, let's queer up education.
So, Florida reverses Don't Say Gay to allow for AP psychology. Florida has reversed the Don't Say Gay ban on a high school psychology course, allowing it to be taught in an age and developmentally appropriate manner. On August 3rd, the Higher Education Nonprofit College Board claimed Florida's Department of Education had instructed school superintendents that advanced placement, AP, psychology classes violate state law due to the course's content on LGBTQ plus topics. The College Board develops and administers standardized tests and curricula used from kindergarten to 12th grade and post-secondary education, including the SAT, the Advanced Placement Program, and Big Future. As part of the AP Psychology course, the course asks students to describe how sex and gender influence socialization and other aspects of development.
LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News, let's queer up entertainment. Drag Race star Adore Delano announces she is transitioning.
This all starts back. Well, it really starts back from when I was a little kid, just not feeling like I belonged anywhere at all. Didn't know what this body was that God gave me. Thought that I would just make the best of it. I thought that I would just work with what God gave me and be okay with that for a decade, but it was just not enough for my mental stability and the feelings of just being an absolute other gender that I did not physically see in the mirror becomes more prominent when you're sober. This happened 2 years ago when I got sober, and I would just drink it away. I would just go back to purgatory. So being sober again, off of everything, including weed, I'm straight edge. I'm dealing with my feelings and I'm allowing them to be, and I'm taking care of myself, and I feel beautiful.
Drag and recording artist Adore Delano, who has starred on both RuPaul's Drag Race and American Idol, let her followers know in a video posted to Instagram that she's transitioning and has never been happier. The Drag Race Season 6 and Drag Race All-Stars 2 star explained that she's been taking estrogen for 3 months, but that she kept it hush-hush until now because she wanted to go through the beginning stages of puberty privately, noting the physical and mental changes that are part of the experience. Delano described how despite having some out and lived according to her gender identity earlier, she suppressed her authentic self when she became an American Idol contestant. She also spoke of her sobriety journey, which she now has 2 years.
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up hotspots. Hotspots magazine on stands now invites you to get up and dance. The new issue of Hotspots magazine is on stands, featuring the benefits of engaging in club music and dancing. Club music, in particular, has the unique ability to get people up on their feet. Beyond being a fun night out, it can also contribute to better health. Whether you're looking to increase cardiovascular endurance, burn calories, improve flexibility, or enhance your mental well-being, there is music to help you achieve your wellness goals. The magazine suggests summer's best beats, which can make you dance the way you want, including music by Paris King, John Duff, Colton Ford, and Tom Goss. You can pick up the newest issue of Hotspots magazine and read the full article.
LGBT plus 1 minute news. Let's cheer up with gay culture. Ballroom icon in Paris is burning. Star Carmen Extravaganza dies at 62. Paris' burning star Carmen Extravaganza has died at age 62 after a battle with lung cancer. The Ballroom Hall of Fame member who was born on April 9, 1961 in Spain was a model, ballroom icon, and singer. In Paris' burning, Brooke and Carmen was seen chatting about their transition on the beach.
And I'm as free as the wind that's blowing out on this beach. Except that voice is still there. As free as this beach. I am my own special creation.
It is thought that in real life, Carmen begins hormones at the age of 16 in Washington, D.C. during her stay at the Runaway House after she ran away from home. At the age of 18, she is thought to have undergone gender-affirming surgery. The House of Extravaganza honored Carmen and on social media, remembering her as one of the impossible beauties and an undeniable icon.
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up politics. New poll suggests GOP voters don't care about woke. Some GOP candidates and lawmakers have assembled like a crime-fighting cartoon squad ready to take on wokeism. The problem? Voters don't care as much about tackling woke issues as Republican candidates may think. A new New York Times and Siena College poll of Americans showed that less than a quarter of Republican voters polled said that they would prioritize choosing a candidate who focuses on defeating radical woke ideology in schools, media, and culture. If given a choice, most GOP voters polled by the New York Times and Siena College chose a law and order candidate. That is today's news for the LGBTQ plus community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ plus evening news show.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Are you, like most of America, part of our very large television audience watching this live LGBTQ plus news broadcast right now on Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, and Amazon Fire TV?
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these type of LGBT stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots magazine, happening out in Television Network and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, Al Ferguson, and on behalf of these LGBTQ plus reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including FayWhat, Neil Plakcy, Lorenzo Davis, and Kal Gajraj. We will see you daily at 8 p.m. And to our LGBTQ plus world, we wish you
good night.
Good night. are Queer News Tonight, the world's first and only live daily LGBTQ plus evening news show, brought to you from Happening Out Television Network. We operate in the same model of PBS and NPR, but for the LGBTQ plus community. We educate, inform, and entertain by supporting the 10 pillars of our LGBTQ plus community, with more than 100,000 a week watching us on Roku, Apple Television, and other channels. To keep the story going, we accept donations with 100% transparency. Stay updated and live authentically with Queer News Tonight.